If you're in the market for an entry-level luxury sedan, you typically only had a few options. It's a segment that is dominated by 3 Germans and 1 Japanese, talking about Audi, BMW, and Mercedes, and Lexus. Now though, America has one that they can be proud to call their own. I'm standing here with the 2013 Cadillac ATS. We've brought it to one of Southern California's most famous driving roads, talking about Angeles Crest Highway. Let's take a closer look at this car and let's go drive the hell out of it. Cadillac is still cooking with its whole art and science design language, and right here, staring at the ATS, it's never been better. I've always said that one of my favorite expressions of the design language is the CTS-V Coupe because it's taking it to the extreme, but this is basically like a CTS sedan shrunken up that's a little more fit and can get into more nicely cut suits. There's just a whole lot more detail going on that I like compared to the CTS. These daytime running lights look brilliant when they're lit up. The wheels fit the wheel wells great, and that's a wonderful design. You've also got the Cadillac Brembo brakes peeking out there. Coming down the side, it's not too aggressive, but you've got a shoulder line and a lower character line that do look very nice. And then sweeping around to the back, you've got the more signature vertical tail lights, integrated spoiler center mount, and it just really, really works well. Another feature I like, because we're driving the 2-liter turbo, you get these great exhaust pipes sticking out the back with this little diffuser that probably doesn't do much but look kind of cool. Overall though, this look suits this car very nicely. Since we're not dealing with the CTS or the XTS, we're talking about smaller engines with the ATS. That's not a bad thing though. There's a base 2.5 liter, which is around 202 horsepower. You can step all the way up to a 3.6 liter, which is closer to 300 horsepower. This one's my favorite though, until the ATS-V comes out. This is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Pushes out 272 horsepower, and we're routing that power through a 6-speed manual gearbox. You can get it with a 6-speed automatic, which actually isn't a bad match for this car because there are a few issues we have with the manual transmission, which we'll get into when we're driving it. But for now, the engine itself, it sounds pretty good. It's a little rough around the edges. It could use just a touch of refinement, but it's still pretty fun. And 272 in this car is plenty of power. Now, like we said, once the V comes out, forget all the other engines, that's the one we'll want. As cool as the outside looks, Cadillac also did an equally impressive job here on the interior. This looks very premium, luxurious, and it should at this price point because this isn't a cheap car. The base price for this car that we're driving is $44,000. This one is $46,000 because it's got a few extra features. But it's got a whole lot of neat stuff going on when it comes to technology and as well creating a driver-focused cockpit. In front of me, I've got a cool triple gauge under the speedometer so I can bounce between different menus to customize the display to exactly how I want, and it's all controlled right here so I don't even have to take my eyes off the road. I've got a very crisp heads-up display in front of me that's way sharper than what we've seen in cars like the Corvette. It's very detailed, it's easy to read. I can also customize that so it also shows me what song is playing off my iPod or via Bluetooth connection or via USB drive, the radio, because there's tons of ways to connect to the system. I can also have it show me navigation, directions. There's a lot going on here, but you can get exactly as much information as you want. Speaking of information, this is my first experience with the Q system, and now it's designed wonderfully. I think the next generation will be fantastic, but right now this one's a little bit laggy when it comes to the button pushes. Some of the swipe features are a little weird. It's neat though because it has this menu that hides, and then when you move your hand over, the menu pops back up because it can sense your hand is there. It's very, very tricky. I think it needs one more generation to mature though. The real point though of bringing this car to Angeles Crest Highway isn't to see how well Q connects to my phone or what the heads-up display looks like. The real reason we brought it here is to drive the car. And I gotta say, so far, this is a pretty damn fun experience. I'm glad they offer it with a manual gearbox, and it's not the best manual gearbox, but it's not terrible either. If you are really driving it hard and you go from third to second, sometimes if you go really aggressively, you'll wind up in the reverse lockout, and that's no fun. You just look like an idiot because you missed a shift, but it's more the car's fault, not mine. The clutch could have a little bit more feel to it. I wish there was a more defined pickup point so you really knew what you were doing. The brakes, I feel like I have to push them just a hair further to get the response out of them. I wish they just grabbed earlier. And they're Brembos, so they should. So that could be a question of pads rather than calipers and the disc. Now the steering though, the steering is excellent. The steering in this car is fantastic. You can just point it where you want and it goes there. There's no numbness going on like you might find in other luxury sedans of this caliber. None of that is here. I just head on down the road, eyes up through the turn, downshift into one, point it, and then control the rest of my directions with the throttle. It's really easy to just huck this thing down a canyon road such as this one, which is a pretty damn fun one to do so in. And we're having a blast with this car. The motor is responsive. There's not really much lag that I'm noticing in the car. It makes most of its torque from down low through up high, so that's great. You always can get on the power early and just have fun. This car's a blast. I mean, a lot of people are wondering if it can compete with the 3 Series, because that's the gold standard for the compact luxury sedan market. In my opinion, there's no question it competes with that car. It competes with it. I don't know if it beats it. It's right there. Maybe when the V comes out and they give it even more aggressive suspension tuning and just beefier brakes, I think then we'll have a true winner on our hands. This is a B+, A-. I am hoping that the ATS V is an A++, check mark, happy face. See the teacher after school because you are entering some dirty stuff going on. So we've brought the 2013 Cadillac ATS to Angeles Crest Highway. The result? We've learned that America has built an entry-level luxury sports sedan, and this is it. Put the Germans on notice, this car can handle. The best part is we're gonna get on the highway, go all the way back to Huntington Beach, and it's gonna transform back into a luxury car. Comfortable seats, great audio system, great amenities to keep everything moving down the road comfortably. Now, Phil, you've done a good job filming today. It's been a long, hot day. I think you deserve a beer. I'm gonna stick with iced tea because I gotta drive home. Let's go inside. Ooh, hot. Sorry about that. No, I don't want to do that. I didn't like that, sorry.